The phone rang during Sunday dinner. My neighbor's trembling voice asked, "Helen, are you home?" When I said no, she whispered 5 words that froze the room. "Then who's in your house?" That was the moment everything shifted. The moment I learned betrayal doesn't always roar. Sometimes it enters quietly, using your own keys. My name is Helen Quinn, 71, retired building inspector. I spent my life spotting cracks before collapse. But nothing prepared me for the one hidden inside my own family, the one built by my son. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The phone call came during Sunday dinner. 3 weeks ago now, but I still hear it. My name is Helen Quinn. I am 71 years old. For 30 years I inspected buildings in Phoenix, Arizona. I know what collapse sounds like before it happens. That Sunday I sat at my son's table. Lucas owns a house in North Scottsdale. Everything inside it gleams. His wife Nora wore white linen. Her nails matched the wine glasses. The chandelier threw sharp light across marble countertops. I ate salad. Lucas stared at his phone. Nora refilled my water. She smiled the way realtors do in magazine ads. Too wide, too steady. The air conditioning hummed. Outside the temperature hit 108 degrees. Inside it felt like 50. My flip phone buzzed in my purse. Lucas glanced up. His face tightened. I pulled the phone out. Mrs. Delgado's name appeared on the small screen. She lives next door to me. A widow like me. Her husband died 2 years after Walter. I answered. Her voice shook. "Helen, are you home?" "No," I told her. "I'm at Lucas's house." Silence stretched between us. Then she spoke again. "Then who's in your house?" The room changed. The air grew thinner. I looked up. Lucas was watching me. His expression shifted fast. Too fast. He laughed. The sound came out sharp and loud. Not amused. Nervous. "Mom, relax. Probably just a reflection. Maybe a delivery guy." He waved his hand. Dismissive. Final. But I had spent 3 decades inside unfinished buildings. I know the sound of stress in a structure. I know the pitch of something under pressure. That laugh carried the same frequency. My son's voice. My son's lie. Nora set down her fork. She looked at Lucas. Then at me. Her smile stayed frozen. I told Mrs. Delgado I would call her back. Lucas poured more wine. He talked about the market. About interest rates. About liquidity. Nora nodded along. She mentioned a spa weekend. She mentioned her new car. I finished my salad. I thanked them for dinner. The drive home took 40 minutes. The highway stretched flat and pale under the Arizona sun. Heat rose off the asphalt in waves. My house sits at the end of a quiet street. Built in 1974. Walter and I bought it when Lucas was 2. The roof is original. The foundation is solid. I parked in the driveway. Mrs. Delgado stood on her porch. She wore a floral housecoat. Her arms were crossed. "I saw someone," she said. "A man. He used a key." My chest tightened. I walked to my front door. The lock showed no scratches. No damage. I turned the key. The bolt slid open smoothly. Inside the house smelled wrong. Not perfume. Not food. Cologne. Expensive. Chemical. I stood in the entryway. Everything looked the same. The couch. The side table. The framed photo of Walter in his uniform. Then I looked down. The welcome mat sat inside the door. Not outside. Inside. A streak of red clay crossed the corner. Fresh. Still slightly damp. Phoenix dirt is tan. Caliche. dry as bone. This was red. Industrial. I called the police. They arrived an hour later. 2 officers. Young. Polite. Uninterested. They checked the windows, the back door, the garage. No signs of forced entry, one said. They suggested motion lights, better locks, a security system. Then they left. I stood in my kitchen. The clock on the wall ticked. Walter bought that clock in 1982. It still kept perfect time. I poured myself water. My hand did not shake. Not yet. The next morning I swept the mat. I collected the red clay in a plastic bag. I sealed it, labeled it, dated it. Old habits never leave. I called Dr. Priya Nandakumar. We worked together years ago on a commercial site inspection. She left building codes behind. Now she runs a materials lab at Arizona State University. I told her I had a sample. I did not explain why. She said to drop it off. 3 days later she called. Helen, this is processed bentonite. Industrial grade. The kind we use for foundation surveys. Not landscaping. Not gardens. My hand tightened on the phone. Someone had not come to steal. They had come to assess. That Sunday I returned to Lucas's house. Nora wore silk. She showed me photos on her phone. Her new car. German. Black. Leather seats with massage settings. Lucas says I deserve comfort, she said. Lucas grinned. His watch caught the light. Heavy. Gold. New. I smiled. I ate my salad. I said nothing, but inside I felt the structure shift. Cracks form slowly. Then all at once. I had been watching the wrong foundation. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The credit report arrived on a Tuesday. I had not requested it. Not consciously, but something in me had started digging. Monday morning I checked my bank accounts. Checking. Savings. The small investment account Walter left me. All normal. All untouched. The balances looked exactly as they should. But my chest still felt tight. I made coffee. The pot gurgled. Steam rose against the kitchen window. Outside a crow landed on the fence. It cocked its head, watched me, then flew away. I opened my laptop. The screen glowed pale blue. I typed in the website for the credit bureau. I created an account. I answered security questions. Mother's maiden name. First car. Street I grew up on. The report loaded slowly. Then the number appeared. 542. My score. My perfect score. Gone. For 40 years I had paid every bill early. Every mortgage payment. Every utility. Walter used to joke that I treated credit like sacred text. Now the number sat there. Wounded. Bleeding. I scrolled down. The entry filled half the screen. Artemis Capital Lending. Loan origination date 6 months ago. Principal $720,000. Collateral, residential property at my address. My address. My house. The room tilted. The coffee mug felt hot in my hand. I clicked the PDF attachment. It opened. Pages of fine print. Legal language. Terms. Conditions. Then the signature page. My name in cursive. Helen Marie Quinn. The loops matched mine. The pressure matched mine. Even the slight hesitation on the capital Q. But I had never seen this document before. Below my signature sat another name. Broker, Lucas Quinn. The screen blurred. I set down the mug. Coffee sloshed over the rim. Memory moved like water finding a crack. 6 months ago. A Saturday. Lucas had come by alone. No Nora. No Sunday dinner excuse. He brought pastries from the bakery on Indian School Road. Almond croissants. My favorite. We sat at the kitchen table. He talked about his business. About growth. About opportunities. Then he slid a folder across the table. Just some estate updates, Mom. Keeps everything simple if something ever happens. Yellow tabs marked each signature line. He pointed. Explained. Used words like beneficiary and streamlined and protection. I signed. 6 times. Maybe 7. He collected the pages. He kissed my cheek. He left with the folder. I ate the croissant. I washed the plate. I forgot. Now I remembered. One of those pages had been labeled Durable Power of Attorney. The words sat in my memory like stones. Power of attorney. Full financial control. The legal right to become me. My hands went cold. Lucas had not broken in. He had not forged anything. He had simply asked. And I had given him the key. The clock ticked. The refrigerator hummed. Outside, the Arizona heat pressed against the windows. I printed the credit report. All 32 pages. I placed them in a folder. I labeled it with the date. Then I opened my filing cabinet. I found the folder from 6 months ago. Estate planning, it said on the tab. Lucas's handwriting. Inside were copies, trust documents, beneficiary forms. And there at the bottom, durable power of attorney. My signature. His witness. A notary stamp. Calvin Roach. Notary public. License number visible. Date clear. I took a photo with my phone. Then another. I photographed every page. My phone buzzed. A text from Lucas. Dinner Sunday? Nora wants to try a new recipe. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I typed back. Sounds lovely. Then I deleted it. I typed again. Looking forward to it. I pressed send. The message disappeared. 3 dots appeared. Then stopped. He did not reply. I closed the laptop. I stood. My legs felt steady. Old. But steady. In the bathroom mirror my face looked the same. Gray hair. Lines around my mouth. Walter used to say I had knowing eyes. Now I understood what he meant. I had been a building inspector for 3 decades. I knew how structures failed. Slowly. Invisibly. One compromised beam at a time. Lucas had not stolen from me in one dramatic heist. He had simply shifted the load. Quietly. Legally. Until the foundation carried weight it was never meant to hold. I returned to the kitchen. I made a list. First, call Martin Hale. Walter's attorney. Old. Sharp. Still practicing. Second, document everything. Dates. Amounts. Names. Third, stay calm. Stay predictable. Let Lucas think I suspected nothing. The pen moved across the paper. My handwriting still neat. Still controlled. Outside the sun climbed higher. The temperature reached 106 degrees. Inside I felt cold. Clear. I had spent my career finding what others missed. Cracks in concrete. Rust in rebar. Violations hidden behind drywall. Now I would inspect my own life. And I would find every fracture my son had caused. The phone rang. Mrs. Delgado. I answered. She asked if everything was all right. She said she had seen Lucas's car in my driveway last week. She said he had stayed less than 10 minutes. I thanked her. I told her I appreciated her watching out for me. She said that's what neighbors do. After I hung up I added her name to my list. Under the heading, Witnesses. The crow returned to the fence. It watched the window. Then it flew toward the mountains. I watched it disappear into the white sky. Some things you see coming. Some things arrive in silence. But once you notice the crack, you cannot unsee it. And once you know the weight is wrong, you have two choices: collapse or reinforce. I chose the latter. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Martin Hale's office sat on Central Avenue in downtown Phoenix. I called Wednesday morning. His secretary said he could see me Friday at 2. I said I would be there. The 2 days between felt long. Slow, like waiting for test results. Thursday I went to Sunday dinner. Lucas grilled salmon. Nora served roasted vegetables on white plates. Everything looked expensive. Everything looked staged. Lucas talked about a new investment opportunity. He used words like diversification and portfolio optimization. His hands moved as he spoke. Confident. Practiced. Nora showed me fabric swatches for their bedroom. She was redecorating. Again. The 4th time in 3 years. I smiled. I nodded. I asked questions. Inside I counted. $720,000. Divided by 3 years of luxury. By German cars and marble countertops and spa weekends. The math made my stomach turn. After dinner Nora brought out dessert. Lemon tart from a bakery in Old Town Scottsdale. $12 a slice. I knew because the box sat on the counter. Lucas poured coffee. He asked about my week. Quiet, I told him. Just the usual. He seemed satisfied with that answer. When I left he walked me to my car. The night air felt thick. Desert heat lingering after sunset. He hugged me. Call if you need anything, Mom. His cologne smelled expensive. Chemical. The same scent from my entryway. I drove home. The highway lights blurred past. Yellow, white, red. My hand stayed steady on the wheel. Friday morning I dressed carefully. Gray slacks. A pressed blouse. The blazer Walter bought me for my retirement party. It still fit. I gathered my documents. The credit report. The power of attorney. The photos on my phone. I placed everything in a leather folder. The drive downtown took 30 minutes. I parked in a garage on 1st Street. The elevator smelled like concrete and air conditioning. Martin Hale's office occupied the 14th floor. Glass walls. Desert views. Furniture that looked heavy and permanent. His secretary offered water. I accepted. Martin appeared at 2 exactly. 80 years old. White hair. Sharp eyes behind wire glasses. He wore a navy suit. No tie. He shook my hand. His grip felt firm. We sat in his office. The door closed. The city stretched below us. Silent through triple-paned glass. I placed the folder on his desk. He opened it. He read. He did not speak. The clock on his wall ticked. Digital. No sound. Just numbers changing. After 10 minutes he looked up. His expression had not changed. But something behind his eyes had sharpened. "Helen," he said, "do not confront your son. Not yet." He tapped the power of attorney document. If this is comprehensive, any direct accusation gives him time. Time to hide evidence. Time to move money. Time to create more documents. His voice stayed level. Clinical. You need to stay pleasant. Stay predictable. Let him think nothing has changed. I asked what came next. He made notes on a yellow pad. His handwriting looked like wire. Tight. Precise. "First," he said, "we verify the notary. Calvin Roach. We check his credentials, his relationship to your son. Any irregularities in his practice. Second, we subpoena Lucas's business records. If he used your house as collateral, there is a paper trail. Bank statements. Loan applications. Correspondence with Artemis Capital. Third, we build leverage. We do not sue Lucas directly. We sue his enablers, the lender, the notary, anyone who failed their duty of care. He looked at me over his glasses. They have money. They have reputations. They will settle to avoid exposure. I asked about Lucas. Martin set down his pen. Your son committed elder financial abuse. Legally, technically, but proving intent is difficult. Especially when you signed the power of attorney willingly. He paused. However, if we dismantle his infrastructure, he loses the ability to do further harm. And you recover your assets. Your credit. Your home. The word home landed like a stone in water. Martin leaned back. This will take time. Weeks. Maybe months. Can you continue the performance? I thought of Thursday dinner. The lemon tart. The cologne. The hug. Yes, I said. He nodded. Then we begin. I left his office at 3:30. The elevator descended in silence. My reflection watched me from the polished steel doors. Outside the heat hit like a wall. 109 degrees. The parking garage felt like an oven. I sat in my car. The steering wheel burned my palms. Then I started the engine. The air conditioning groaned. Cold air trickled from the vents. I drove home slowly. Through downtown. Past the Capitol. Through neighborhoods where sprinklers ran despite the drought. At a red light I checked my phone. A text from Lucas. Great seeing you last night. Same time next week? I typed back. Wouldn't miss it. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. The light turned green. At home I changed clothes. I made iced tea. I sat in Walter's chair by the window. The sun moved across the floor. Golden. Harsh. Unforgiving. Mrs. Delgado appeared on her porch. She watered her roses. The hose hissed. Water darkened the concrete. She looked toward my house. I raised my hand. She waved back. Small gestures. Small witnesses. I opened my laptop. I searched for Calvin Roach. Notary Public. Phoenix. His website appeared. Professional. Clean. Services included estate planning, business formation, loan signings. I clicked on testimonials. 5 stars. Phrases like reliable and thorough and detail-oriented. Then I searched his name with Nora's maiden name. Nora Castellano. Social media results loaded. A photo from 8 years ago. A group at a restaurant. Nora. Calvin. 3 others. The caption said reunion vibes. Another photo. A charity event. Nora and Calvin standing together. Both smiling. I took screenshots. I saved them to a folder labeled evidence. The sun dropped lower. Shadows stretched across the carpet. My phone rang. Martin. He had filed a records request with the Notary Commission. He had contacted Artemis Capital's legal department. He had hired a forensic accountant. The wheels were turning. I thanked him. He reminded me, stay calm, stay normal, let them feel safe. After we hung up I made dinner. Soup from a can. Toast. Simple. I ate at the kitchen table. The same table where Lucas had brought pastries. Where I had signed away my power. The spoon clinked against the bowl. Outside the sky turned orange. Then purple. Then black. I washed my dishes. I locked the doors. I checked the windows. In the bedroom I opened the closet. Walter's side still held his clothes. His uniform. His work shirts. I had never removed them. I pressed my face into one of his shirts. It smelled like dust, like time, but also like safety. I whispered into the fabric. I'm handling it, Walter. I'm handling it. The house settled around me. Creaks. sighs, the language of old bones. But tonight they sounded different. Not lonely, prepared. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Martin called on Tuesday morning. 3 weeks had passed since our first meeting. 3 more Sunday dinners. 3 more performances. His voice came through the phone calm and factual. "Helen," he said, "we have findings." I sat down at the kitchen table. My coffee had gone cold. He told me Calvin Roach had notarized 47 documents in the past year. 17 involved elderly clients. 9 of those showed irregularities. Timestamps that did not match. Addresses listed incorrectly. Witnesses who could not be verified. The Notary Commission had opened an investigation. Martin paused. Then he continued. Calvin Roach and Nora attended college together. Arizona State. Class of 2012. Same dormitory. Same social circle. I closed my eyes. The kitchen felt smaller. He kept talking. We subpoenaed Lucas's business. Quinn Capital Ventures. The forensic accountant spent 2 weeks on the books. Another pause. Longer this time. Helen, your son's company is insolvent. Has been for 18 months. The word hung in the air. Insolvent. Martin explained. Fake invoices. Phantom clients. Money moved in circles. Expenses for personal luxury coded as business costs. The loan from Artemis Capital went directly into his accounts. Within 6 weeks most of it disappeared. Car payments. Home renovations. Credit card debt. Designer purchases. Your house became his line of credit. My hands pressed flat against the table. The wood felt solid. Real. Martin's voice softened slightly. This is elder financial abuse. Clear. Documented. Criminal. I asked what happened next. He said we moved to the next phase. We do not sue Lucas. Not yet. We go after the institutions that enabled him. Artemis Capital ignored due diligence requirements. They never verified your consent. Never confirmed you understood the loan terms. Never checked if Lucas had conflicts of interest. They violated lending regulations. Federal, state, multiple counts. And Calvin Roach participated in fraud. His notary seal legitimized documents he knew were suspicious. Martin's tone hardened. These people have insurance. They have legal departments. They have reputations they want to protect. We hit them where it hurts. He said he would draft demand letters. To Artemis. To Roach's bonding company. To the State Banking Commission. The demands would be simple. Cancel the loan. Restore Helen Quinn's credit. Pay damages for emotional distress and financial harm. Or face litigation. Regulatory investigations. Media exposure. I asked how much time this would take. 2 weeks, he said. Maybe 3. Then we negotiate. After we hung up, the house felt too quiet. The refrigerator hummed. The clock ticked. Outside a dog barked. I stood. I walked to the window. Mrs. Delgado's roses had bloomed. Pink, red, yellow against brown earth. My phone buzzed. A text from Lucas. Mom, can we move dinner to Saturday? Client meeting Sunday. I stared at the screen. My thumb hovered. I typed. Saturday works. His reply came fast. Thanks. You're the best. 3 words. Casual. Easy. As if nothing had shifted. I set the phone down. That afternoon I went to the bank. My bank. The one where Walter and I had kept accounts for 40 years. The manager recognized me. Mrs. Quinn, she said. How can I help? I asked about security options. Fraud alerts. Account monitoring. Credit freezes. She led me to her desk. We filled out forms. She activated alerts. She flagged my accounts for unusual activity. She asked if there was a specific concern. I smiled. Just being careful, I said. She nodded. Smart, she replied. You would be surprised how common elder fraud is. I thanked her. I left with new passwords. New security questions. New protections. Small walls. But walls nonetheless. Saturday came. I drove to Lucas's house. The sun sat low and orange. Nora opened the door. She wore silk. Her hair looked freshly colored. Blonde. Expensive. She hugged me. Smelled like gardenias and something synthetic. Lucas stood in the kitchen. He poured wine into crystal glasses. His watch caught the light. A different one. Newer. Dinner was lobster. Flown in from Maine, Nora said proudly. She had read about it in a food magazine. Lucas talked about his client meeting. Big fish, he called it. Potential 7-figure contract. His eyes shone when he spoke. Excited. Confident. Nora asked about my week. Anything new? Same old, I said. Gardening. Reading. Quiet. She smiled. That sounds peaceful. The word peaceful landed wrong. Like an insult disguised as kindness. After dinner, Lucas walked me to my car. The night air felt warm. Dry. He asked if I needed anything. Money. Help around the house. Anything at all. The concern in his voice sounded genuine. Almost. I'm fine, I told him. You've done enough. The phrase hung between us. He did not catch the double meaning. He hugged me. Drive safe, Mom. I pulled out of the driveway. In the rearview mirror he stood watching. Then he turned, walked back inside. The door closed. The house glowed. Every window bright. Every room burning electricity. My house sat dark when I arrived. I left it that way for a moment. I sat in the car. Engine off. Silence pressing in. Then I went inside. Turned on one lamp. Just one. The light felt sufficient. Monday morning Martin called again. The letters had been sent. Certified mail. Signature required. Artemis Capital received theirs Friday. Their legal team would have read it over the weekend. Calvin Roach received his Saturday morning. Now we wait, Martin said. I asked what to expect. Denial first. Then panic. Then negotiation. His voice carried a trace of satisfaction. These cases follow patterns. Institutions do not want public scandals. They do not want regulatory scrutiny. They will calculate the cost of settlement versus the cost of exposure. Settlement always wins. I thanked him. I hung up. The house creaked. Settling. Shifting. Old foundations adjusting to new weight. I made tea. I sat in Walter's chair. Through the window the desert stretched flat and pale. Mountains in the distance. Hazy. Blue-gray. Somewhere out there Lucas was working. Building presentations. Making calls. Believing his structure still held. He did not know the inspections had already happened. He did not know the violations had been documented. He did not know the condemned notice was coming. I sipped my tea. It tasted bitter. Strong. Outside the temperature climbed toward 113 degrees. Inside I felt cold. Steady. Like steel waiting to be tested. Like concrete curing into something permanent. The phone sat silent on the table. No calls. No texts. Just the heat. The light. The patient ticking of time. And me. Waiting. Not weak. Not afraid. Just ready. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The response from Artemis Capital came on Thursday. Martin called at 9 in the morning. His voice carried a new edge. Sharper. Almost pleased. They blinked, he said. A courier had delivered their reply. 23 pages. Legal letterhead. 3 attorneys listed. The tone started defensive. They cited internal policies, due diligence standards, industry best practices. Then the tone shifted. Page 12. They acknowledged certain procedural oversights. They expressed concern for Mrs. Quinn's experience. They proposed a meeting to discuss resolution. Martin paused. Translation: they are terrified. He explained. Artemis Capital operates in 42 states. They hold hundreds of millions in residential loans. Any regulatory investigation could trigger audits, lawsuits, loss of lending licenses. One elderly widow in Phoenix could unravel their entire operation. I asked what came next. We negotiate, Martin said. But from strength. They came to us. That means we set terms. He scheduled a meeting for the following Wednesday. His office. 10 in the morning. Artemis would send 2 representatives. Their head of risk management. Their lead attorney. Calvin Roach would attend separately. His lawyer had already called. Twice. Martin's voice dropped. He is panicking. Good. After we hung up, I stood in my kitchen. Sunlight poured through the window. Harsh, bright, unfiltered. The tea kettle sat on the stove. Cold, waiting. I filled it, turned on the burner, watched the flame circle blue beneath the metal. Outside, Mrs. Delgado swept her porch. The broom scratched against concrete. Rhythmic, steady. She looked up, saw me through the window. Waved. I waved back. Small gestures. Small witnesses. Still counting. That Sunday Lucas texted. He wanted to cancel dinner. Something came up, he wrote. Work emergency. The message came at noon. No explanation. No apology. I stared at the screen. In 35 years my son had never canceled Sunday dinner. Not for work. Not for anything. He knew something. Or suspected something. I replied. No problem. Hope everything is okay. 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. No response came. The afternoon stretched long. I cleaned the house. Vacuumed. Dusted. Wiped down surfaces that were already clean. Movement helped. Action helped. At 4 o'clock my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. A woman's voice. Professional. Clipped. Mrs. Quinn? This is Jennifer Watts from Artemis Capital Lending. My hand tightened on the phone. She said she wanted to reach out personally. To express concern. To assure me that Artemis took customer satisfaction seriously. Her words sounded rehearsed. Corporate. Hollow. I let her talk. I said nothing. She continued. Sometimes misunderstandings occur. Documentation issues. Communication breakdowns. But Artemis always worked to make things right. Silence filled the line. Then she asked, would you be willing to discuss this matter directly? Perhaps we could resolve it without attorneys involved? The question hung there. Careful. Calculated. I kept my voice even. My attorney is handling this, I said. She tried again. Sometimes legal processes complicate simple solutions. We would like to help you, Mrs. Quinn. The phrase help you made my jaw tighten. I repeated, my attorney is handling this. She thanked me for my time. The call ended. I set the phone down. My hand shook slightly. They were scared. Truly scared. Scared enough to violate protocol. Scared enough to contact me directly. Martin had been right. I called him immediately. Told him about Jennifer Watts. His response came fast and hard. Do not answer if she calls again. Do not engage. They are trying to bypass me. He said he would file a complaint. Improper contact. Potential witness tampering. Another violation. Another piece of leverage. The days before Wednesday moved slowly. Heavy. Like air before a storm. Monday I went to the library. I needed distance from the house. From the waiting. The building smelled like old paper and air conditioning. I sat near the windows. Read the newspaper. Watched people come and go. A young mother with 2 children. An elderly man with a cane. A teenager with headphones. Normal people. Normal lives. Unbroken. Tuesday I visited Walter's grave. The cemetery sat east of the city. Flat. Sparse. Desert grass and gravel paths. His headstone looked clean. Simple. Walter James Quinn. Beloved husband and father. I knelt. My knees protested but held. I told him about Lucas. About the loan. About Martin's plan. The words came easier than I expected. Like confession. Like testimony. The wind moved across the graves. Hot. Dry. Carrying dust. I stayed for 20 minutes. Then I stood. Brushed dirt from my slacks. Goodbye, Walter. The words felt final. Not sad. Just true. Wednesday morning I dressed carefully. Navy suit. Pearl earrings Walter gave me for our 30th anniversary. Sensible shoes. I looked in the mirror. A 71-year-old woman looked back. Gray hair. Lined face. Steady eyes. Not a victim. A witness. I drove downtown. Parked in the same garage. Rode the same elevator. Martin's office felt colder than before. Or maybe I felt colder. His secretary offered coffee. I accepted. Black. Hot. At 10 exactly the conference room door opened. 2 people entered. A man in his 50s. Dark suit. Thin tie. Jennifer Watts followed. Younger. Blonde. Rigid posture. They did not smile. They sat across from us. The table between us looked wide. Vast. Martin remained standing. He placed a binder on the table. Thick. Blue. Intimidating. He introduced himself. Then me. Then he sat. The man from Artemis spoke first. His name was Robert Chen. Senior Vice President. He thanked us for meeting. He acknowledged complexity in the situation. He expressed desire for mutual resolution. Corporate language. Empty language. Martin cut through it. Let me be clear, he said. Your company issued a $720,000 loan using fraudulent documentation. You failed to verify borrower consent. You violated federal lending regulations. His voice stayed level. Cold. We have documented evidence. We have expert testimony. We have regulatory violations spanning multiple statutes. He opened the binder. Turned it toward them. This is the complaint. 37 pages. 52 exhibits. Ready to file. Jennifer Watts leaned forward. Tried to speak. Martin raised one hand. I am not finished. The room held its breath. Additionally, he continued, you will face investigations from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the Arizona Department of Financial Institutions, and likely the Federal Trade Commission. He paused. Let the weight settle. Your choice is simple. Settle now, or face years of litigation and regulatory scrutiny. Robert Chen's face had gone pale. He glanced at Jennifer Watts. She looked down. Martin slid a single page across the table. Our terms. Cancel the debt in full. Remove all negative marks from Mrs. Quinn's credit report. Pay $230,000 in damages. You have 72 hours to respond. The meeting lasted 12 more minutes. They asked questions. Martin answered. Brief. Final. Then they left. The door closed. The conference room fell silent. Martin looked at me. His expression had not changed. "They will settle," he said. "Tomorrow. Maybe Friday." I believed him. We walked to the elevator together. The hallway stretched long and bright. "Thank you," I said. He shook his head. "You did this, Helen. You recognized what was happening. You documented. You acted." The elevator doors opened. We stepped inside. In the reflection on the steel doors I saw myself. Still standing. Still whole. The elevator descended, floor by floor, toward ground level, toward resolution. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. Artemis Capital settled Thursday afternoon. Martin called at 3:15. His voice carried something close to triumph. "They signed," he said. "All terms accepted. No modifications. The debt would be cancelled within 48 hours. My credit report would be corrected within 10 business days. The damages would be wired to Martin's trust account by Monday. $230,000. I sat down. My legs suddenly felt weak. Martin continued. "Calvin Roach settled separately this morning. His insurance company paid $25,000. His notary license is under suspension. Likely permanent revocation." The words washed over me. Settlement. Cancellation. Revocation. Legal language for destroyed lives. But not mine. Theirs. Martin said the next step would be harder. "Lucas, we have the evidence. We have the settlements. Now we confront him." He wanted me at his office Monday morning. 9 o'clock. Lucas would receive a letter Saturday. Required attendance. Legal representation recommended. After we hung up I walked through my house. Room by room. Touching walls. Door frames. Surfaces. The structure felt solid. Unchanged. But something had shifted inside it. Or inside me. Friday I received an email from Artemis Capital. Official. Corporate. A settlement agreement attached as PDF. I read every word. Every clause. Every signature line. Then I printed it. Placed it in a folder. Filed it alphabetically. Old habits. That evening my phone rang. "Lucas." I stared at the screen. Let it ring 3 times. 4. Then I answered. His voice sounded strange. Tight. "Mom, can we talk?" "About what?" I kept my tone light. "Curious. Just some stuff. Legal stuff. Did you get a letter?" "Not yet," I lied. "Why?" A pause. Long enough to hear him breathing. "Nothing major. Just some confusion with paperwork. My lawyer wants to clear it up." The word confusion landed soft. Deliberate. Like he had practiced it. I asked if everything was all right. Yeah, totally fine. Just bureaucratic nonsense." His voice tried for casual. Missed by miles. We hung up. No mention of dinner. No mention of seeing each other. The distance between us had become measurable. Documented. Legal. Saturday morning the letter arrived. Certified mail. Signature required. I signed for it but did not open it. Not yet. Instead I made coffee. Sat in Walter's chair. Watched light move across the floor. The envelope sat on the table. White. Official. Heavy. Finally I opened it. Martin's letterhead. Formal language. A summons disguised as an invitation. Lucas Quinn was required to attend a meeting. Monday, October 23. 9 a.m. Subject matter: financial transactions involving Helen Marie Quinn. Legal representation advised. The letter did not mention the settlements. Did not mention the evidence. Just the requirement to appear. I folded it. Placed it back in the envelope. Then I called Mrs. Delgado. Asked if she wanted tea. She arrived 20 minutes later. Floral dress. Concerned eyes. We sat in my kitchen. I poured chamomile. Steam rose between us. She asked if I was all right. She said I looked different. Stronger somehow. I told her about Lucas. Not everything, just enough. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she reached across the table. Squeezed my hand. You did right, Helen. Family does not mean permission. Her words settled something inside me. Permission. I had given too much of it. Sunday passed slowly. I cleaned. I read. I avoided my phone. No call from Lucas. No text. Just silence. The kind that feels like someone holding their breath. Monday morning I woke at 5. Dressed by 6. Coffee by 6:30. Navy suit again. The pearl earrings. My mother's wedding ring next to my own. Armor made of memory. The drive downtown felt different. Sharper. Like the city had gained edges overnight. I arrived at Martin's office at 8:40. Early but not too early. His secretary nodded when she saw me. Conference room B, she said. Mr. Hale is waiting. Martin stood when I entered. He wore charcoal gray. His eyes looked alert. Ready. Lucas will arrive at 9, he said. Nora will likely accompany him. His attorney confirmed attendance. He walked me through the plan. Simple. Direct. Show the evidence. Present the facts. Offer one choice. Walk away. Or face criminal charges. At 8:58 voices carried from the hallway. A man's voice. Lucas's voice. Higher than normal. Tense. Then a woman. Nora. Her tone soothing. Placating. The door opened. Lucas entered first. His face looked pale. Circles under his eyes. His suit wrinkled slightly. Nora followed. Designer dress. Perfect makeup. But her hands clutched her purse too tightly. Behind them came their attorney. Mid-40s. Expensive tie. Briefcase monogrammed. They sat across from us. The same table where Artemis had sat. The same distance. Lucas would not meet my eyes. He stared at the table. At his hands. Anywhere else. Martin began. He thanked them for coming. Then his voice changed. Hardened. He opened a new binder. Thicker than the last. Lucas Quinn, he said. You obtained power of attorney from your mother through deception. You used that authority to secure a loan of $720,000. You forged her consent through fraudulent notarization. Each word landed like a hammer. You depleted those funds for personal expenses. Luxury vehicles. Home improvements. Designer goods. While your mother's credit was destroyed. Lucas's attorney tried to interrupt. Martin raised his hand. I am not finished. He turned a page. Your company is insolvent. Your business partner does not exist. Your client contracts are fabricated. Nora's face had gone white. She looked at Lucas. He looked at nothing. Martin continued. We have bank records. Notary testimony. Witness statements. Forensic accounting. Video evidence from your mother's home security system. The last part was a lie. I had no security cameras. Not then. But Lucas did not know that. His shoulders sagged. His hands pressed flat against the table. Martin slid a single page forward. This is a separation agreement. You will have no further contact with Helen Quinn. No phone calls. No visits. No communication of any kind. His voice dropped. In exchange, Mrs. Quinn will not press criminal charges at this time. The phrase "at this time" hung in the air. A door left open. A threat left alive. Lucas's attorney leaned close. Whispered something. Lucas nodded. Barely. The attorney asked for time to review. Martin gave him 10 minutes. They left the conference room. The door closed. Silence rushed in to fill the space. I looked at Martin. He looked back. His expression unreadable. We waited. Outside the window, Phoenix sprawled beneath us. Buildings. Roads. Lives continuing. At 9:20 they returned. Lucas's attorney spoke. His voice professional. Detached. My client accepts the terms. Martin produced 2 copies of the agreement. Lucas signed both. His signature shook slightly. I did not sign. I was not party to this document. I was the reason for it. When the ink dried, Martin collected the papers. He stood. The meeting was over. Lucas finally looked at me. His eyes red. His face strange. He opened his mouth. Tried to speak. I stood. Turned toward the door. Did not wait to hear what he might say. Some words come too late. Some apologies mean nothing. In the hallway I walked alone. My footsteps echoed. Steady. Measured. Behind me voices murmured. Furniture scraped. Doors closed. I did not look back. The elevator arrived. I stepped inside. Pressed the button for the ground floor. In the steel reflection I saw myself. Whole. Unbroken. The doors closed. The elevator descended. Toward street level. Toward sunlight. Toward the rest of my life. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. The settlement money arrived on Wednesday. Martin called at 10 in the morning. The wire transfer had cleared. $230,000 sat in his trust account. After deducting his fees and expenses, $192,000 would be mine. He asked how I wanted the funds distributed. To my account, I said. All of it. He said he would process the transfer that afternoon. I hung up. Stood in my kitchen. The morning light fell across the counter in sharp lines. $192,000. Money I had never asked for. Money that represented my son's betrayal converted into numbers. The tea kettle whistled. I turned off the flame. Outside, Mrs. Delgado watered her roses. The hose hissed. Water darkened the soil. She looked up. Waved. I waved back. Normal gestures. Normal day. Except nothing felt normal anymore. That afternoon I went to the bank. The same manager greeted me. Mrs. Quinn, she said. Good to see you. I told her a large deposit would arrive soon. She nodded. Made notes in her system. She asked if I needed financial planning services. Investment advice. Not yet, I said. Soon. The truth was I had no plans for the money. Not yet. It sat in my mind like furniture in an empty room. Present but purposeless. I drove home through afternoon heat. 107 degrees. The car thermometer glowed red. At home I opened my laptop. Checked my credit report. The Artemis loan had been removed. The entry simply gone. Like it never existed. My score had climbed to 718. Still recovering. But climbing. I closed the laptop. Sat back. Breathed. The house creaked around me. Settling. Adjusting. Old wood responding to temperature changes. Thursday I received a text from an unknown number. Mom, it's me. Please. We need to talk. Lucas. Using a different phone. Or Nora's phone. Trying to bypass the agreement. I deleted the message. Blocked the number. Friday another text came. Different number again. I know I messed up. But I'm still your son. The words tried for emotion. For connection. They landed empty. I blocked that number too. Saturday morning I changed the locks. Front door. Back door. Side gate. The locksmith was young, efficient. He installed new deadbolts in 40 minutes. When he left, I tested each lock, turned each key, felt each bolt slide home. The house felt different, sealed, protected. That afternoon I installed security cameras. Small ones, wireless. 2 at the front, 1 at the back, 1 covering the driveway. I downloaded the app, watched the live feed on my phone. Mrs. Delgado appeared on her porch. She looked toward my house, noticed the cameras. She gave a thumbs up, smiled. I smiled back through the screen. Sunday I did not go anywhere. Did not see anyone. Just stayed home. I cleaned Walter's closet. Finally, after 5 years. His uniforms, his work shirts, his shoes, all packed into boxes, labeled for donation. I kept 1 shirt, the flannel one, blue and gray. I folded it, placed it in my dresser. The rest went into my car trunk. Monday morning I drove to the Veterans Thrift Store on McDowell Road. They accepted everything, thanked me for the donation. I drove away lighter. The car felt emptier. I felt emptier, but not in a bad way. That afternoon Martin called. He had news about Calvin Roach. The notary commission had revoked his license permanently. He faced additional civil suits from other victims. 3 other elderly clients had come forward. Similar stories, similar fraud. Martin said Lucas might still face criminal charges. The county attorney was reviewing the case. But that decision was not mine to make. Not anymore. I had done what I needed to do. Recovered my home, restored my credit, protected my future. The rest belonged to the system. Tuesday I went to the grocery store. Bought fresh vegetables, real coffee, a small steak. At home I cooked. Actually cooked. Not soup from a can. Not toast. I set the table. Used the good plates. The ones Walter and I received as wedding gifts. I ate slowly. Tasted everything. The salt. The pepper. The butter melting over asparagus. Food had become fuel somewhere along the way. Now it tasted like food again. After dinner I sat in Walter's chair. The sun set orange and pink beyond the mountains. My phone sat silent on the side table. No calls. No texts. Just the evening cooling. The house settling. The refrigerator humming. Wednesday morning I called Dr. Priya Nandakumar. Asked if she wanted to meet for coffee. She said yes immediately. We met at a cafe in Old Town Scottsdale. Outdoor seating, shade umbrellas, desert landscaping. Priya looked the same, gray streaking her black hair. Sharp eyes behind frameless glasses. She hugged me, asked how I was doing. I told her everything. The loan, the fraud, the settlement, Lucas. She listened without interrupting. When I finished she sat back. Helen, she said, I am so sorry, but also so proud. The word proud surprised me. She continued, most people would have accepted it. Would have believed their children. Would have stayed silent. You fought back. Her words settled warm in my chest. We talked for 2 hours. About work. About retirement. About loneliness. About strength. When we parted she made me promise to call again. Soon. I promised. Thursday I received a letter from the credit bureau. Official confirmation. All negative marks removed. My report corrected. I filed it with the other documents. The settlements. The agreements. The evidence. A paper trail of survival. Friday morning I woke early. Made coffee. Sat on my back patio. The desert stretched behind my house. Brown. Vast. Patient. A roadrunner appeared on the fence. Watched me. Then darted away. The air smelled like creosote and dust. Like home. My phone buzzed. A notification from my bank. The settlement funds had been deposited. I checked the balance. $192,000. The number looked strange on the screen. Too large. Too present. But it was mine. Earned through loss. Through betrayal. Through survival. I set down the phone. Sipped my coffee. The sun rose higher. Heat built slowly. Another Arizona day beginning. Inside the house the clock ticked. The same clock from 1982. Still keeping perfect time. Some things change. Some things remain. I had changed. The circumstances had changed. But the foundation held. My foundation. Not Lucas's ass. Not anyone else's. Mine. And it was solid. If you're watching this, subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. 3 months passed. November arrived cool and clear. Phoenix temperatures dropped to the 70s. Almost pleasant. My credit score reached 768. Higher than before the fraud. Climbing steadily. The house felt different now. Quieter but not lonely. Secure but not isolated. I had learned the difference. In early November I hired a contractor. Small repairs. Nothing major. A leaking faucet. Cracked tile in the bathroom. Weather stripping on the back door. The contractor was a woman. Mid-50s. Competent hands. Fair prices. She finished in 3 days. Left the house better than she found it. I paid her in full. Immediately. She seemed surprised. Most people wait until the last minute, she said. Or argue about costs. I told her good work deserves prompt payment. She smiled. Said she hoped to work with me again. After she left I walked through the house. Touched the new tile. Tested the faucet. Opened and closed the door. Everything worked. Everything held. Mid-November I joined a community group. Seniors Against Financial Fraud. They met monthly at the public library. 15 women. 3 men. All with stories. Some had lost homes. Some had lost savings. Some had lost trust in their own families. I listened more than I spoke. But when I did speak, people listened back. One woman asked how I had fought back. What gave me the strength? I told her about documentation. About witnesses. About finding the right attorney. But mostly I told her about refusing to accept the narrative that I was helpless. Age does not equal weakness, I said. Experience is a form of power. Several people wrote that down. After the meeting a woman approached me. Younger. Maybe 60. Her hands shook. Her daughter had power of attorney. Had been draining her accounts for 2 years. She asked if I could help. If I knew what to do. I gave her Martin Hale's card. Told her to call him. Use my name. She hugged me. Hard. Desperate. Thank you, she whispered. I thought I was alone. You are not alone, I said. Thanksgiving came. No invitation from Lucas. I had not expected one. Mrs. Delgado invited me to her daughter's house. I declined politely. Too many people. Too much noise. Instead I made a small turkey breast. Roasted vegetables. Apple pie from scratch. I set the table for one. Used the good china. Lit a candle. Before eating I sat in silence. Thought about the year. About Walter. About Lucas. About survival. Then I ate. The food tasted good. Real. Earned. After dinner I called Priya. We talked for an hour. Made plans to meet before Christmas. The evening settled cool and dark. I sat on the patio. Wrapped in Walter's flannel shirt. Stars appeared. Sharp. Clear. Unobstructed by city lights at this edge of Phoenix. The desert stretched quiet beyond my fence. Patient. Eternal. I thought about Lucas. Not with anger. Not anymore. Just with recognition. He had made choices. I had made choices. The consequences belonged to both of us. But I would not carry his weight. Not anymore. Early December, my credit union called. Asked if I wanted to discuss investment options. I made an appointment for the following week. The financial advisor was younger than Lucas. Professional. Respectful. She did not talk down to me. She asked about my goals. My needs. My timeline. I told her I wanted security. Stability. Nothing risky. Nothing complicated. She suggested bonds. Index funds. A small allocation to dividend stocks. Conservative. Appropriate. Boring. Perfect. I signed the paperwork. Transferred $150,000. Kept the rest liquid. When I left, I felt something shift. The money had purpose now. Direction. It was no longer compensation. It was foundation. Mid-December, Martin called. He had news about Lucas. The county attorney had declined to press charges. Insufficient evidence of criminal intent. The civil settlements had resolved the matter. Lucas would face no jail time. No prosecution. Just the separation agreement. Just the loss of access to me. Martin asked if I was disappointed. No, I said. I never wanted revenge. Just protection. He seemed satisfied with that answer. We discussed closing my case. Final billing. Document retention. Everything wrapped up by year-end. Before we hung up, he said something unexpected. Helen, you should be proud. Most people crumble under this kind of betrayal. You rebuilt. His words stayed with me after the call ended. Rebuilt. Not recovered. Not returned to normal. Rebuilt. A new structure. Stronger. Different. Christmas week I decorated. Nothing elaborate. A small tree. White lights. A wreath on the door. Mrs. Delgado brought cookies. Homemade. Anise and butter. We sat in my living room. Drank tea. Watched the tree lights blink. She asked if I missed Lucas. I considered the question. Really considered it. I miss who I thought he was, I said finally. But that person never existed. She nodded, understanding without judgment. On Christmas Eve I attended services at the community church. I had not been religious before. Walter had not been either. But something drew me there. The music maybe. The quiet. I sat in the back. Listened to carols. Watched candlelight flicker across old wood. A hymn about hope. About light in darkness. About foundations that hold. I did not sing. Just listened. Let the words wash over me. When I left, the night air felt cold. Clear. Arizona winter. The stars looked close enough to touch. At home I made hot chocolate. Real chocolate. Melted and stirred. The way Walter used to make it. I sat in his chair. Sipped slowly. Watched the tree lights pulse. My phone sat silent on the table. No calls. No texts from Lucas. The silence felt final now. Not painful. Just complete. Some doors close permanently. Some relationships end without resolution. I had learned to accept that. New Year's Eve arrived quiet. No parties. No champagne. Just me. The house. The year turning. At 11:30 I poured a small glass of wine. Stood on the back patio. The desert air smelled like winter. Cool. Clean. Promising nothing. At midnight fireworks erupted across the city. Distant. Colorful. Brief. I raised my glass. Not to the new year. Not exactly. To survival. To strength. To rebuilding. To myself. The fireworks faded. The noise died. Silence returned. I went inside, locked the door, tested it, felt the bolt slide home. In the bedroom I changed into pajamas, brushed my teeth, looked in the mirror. A 71-year-old woman looked back. Gray hair, lined face, clear eyes. Not a victim, not fragile, not defeated, just Helen Quinn. Still standing, still whole. I turned off the light, climbed into bed. The house creaked around me. Settling, breathing, holding. My house, my foundation, my life. And it was enough. More than enough. It was mine.